So, Victor, when was the last time you hired somebody for something, but they were totally qualified in a very different field?
I have a lot of different qualifications I do myself. Sometimes someone says, "Hey, walk the dog," and what do? I take a shower. And well, sometimes someone will say, "Hey, can you just babysit my children for me?" And what do? I take a shower. I sometimes take a shower because I need to stay clean. But I'm like, "Oh wait, don't gotta be doing something?" Oh wait, nah, no, I don't. But hey, you gotta have fun sometimes, even if you need to do something.
Yep, sometimes I ask people to save my village, and what do? They do a sing and a dance, and they run around shooting all over the place without actually hurting anyone.
So what? What if the show gets canceled and you guys never get to do movies or anything like that? Say that.
Yes, bitch! There she is!
They should let children out of school to see this movie. They should show it in school.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
I disagree.
I am Iron Man.
There's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
You're gonna have to rock the thong with this. Oh, no, I don't wear thongs. I have a very fussy taint.
Oh, behave.
Welcome to Not Ready for Popcorn Players podcast, the number one podcast for You're My Buttercup. She's my buttercup. I'm your buttercup. In the galaxy, my name is Johnny Watson.
And I'm Victor Higgins, and I'm very glad to be here because I had a very lucky day hanging with my good friend Ned Nederlander, and we were just having a good old time looking at some dusty bottoms. Glad to be here.
Damn, dude. I know the girls in Carolina look different, but I hope they don't all got dusty bottoms.
Hopefully not.
Yes. Anyways, as you guys know, we review the movies led by SNL cast members. Obviously, this one might be a little sticky. Some of you probably aren't going to listen because of one of the three co-leads of this movie. But we discussed it before we even started this whole entire pod endeavor, and Victor thought we should do it.
Yeah. I feel it was inevitable,
It was inevitable.
They'll do it at some point.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the point. All right, so today we are doing the 1986. Was it a classic? I don't know how good it was, but we're talking about Three Amigos, starring the aforementioned referenced Chevy Chase, all-time great, if not the greatest, SNL host ever, Steve Martin, and season 10, not 11, right?
Correct.
Cast member Martin Short.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just to answer your question, I feel this movie is probably not like a classic. I feel like people know it, but like people that don't really know it are like familiar with some of the bits from it, because I do think this is like well known enough of a movie that again people are aware of it and stuff. And I feel this kind of maybe like kind of a sleeper hit of a movie because again people talk about it, but not everybody talks about it. It's not like the first thing I feel people would think of when they think of Chevy Chase, Martin Short, or Steve Martin, but people are aware of this movie for sure.
Okay, I'm looking at it's it looks like it did obviously make a profit, but it wasn't like a super explosive rousing success kind of a thing.
Right.
Oh wow, HBO Pictures before they had the channel. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
Orion Pictures as well.
Yes. Okay, so as we said before, obviously we've got three heavy hitters. Obviously this is, first of all, I did notice as I'm looking at the credits, this is like a proper SNL movie. You've got Lorne Michaels involved, you've got Landis involved. John Lovitz plays a very small but still a part in this movie, and it's like from the floor to the ceiling. Obviously it's produced by I think Universal, which is still doing the stuff today, and it's like, oh yeah, they're in this.
Yeah. And also Phil Hartman, of course, also had that brief scene, I believe, with John.
Oh, he did? Where was he?
Yeah. He was that same scene with John Lovitz in it. Yeah,
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that.
Phil's such a character actor that it's hard to even when he's so in character, he's like, oh, that's Phil. Like he's that good of an actor.
Wow, I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And let's get into like all of our cat. Well, actually, before we do anything, let's just talk about like our three leads again. Steve
Mhm.
Martin, incredible host, hosted the second most out of Alec Baldwin, I believe, 16 times, and
16 times.
it's still kind of crazy to me, but I guess it makes sense that some people think that he actually was an original cast member.
Mhm.
But like, did you ever hear about that?
I have heard about that. I think my mom thinks so, actually,
Mm, yeah.
until I clarified it with her. And also, obviously, one of those episodes that he hosted was co-hosted with one of his co-stars today, Martin Short, who's got an interesting legacy with the show. Yes, he, it's weird. He's less of a cast member than a lot of people,
Hmm.
but still more of a cast member than Ben Stiller, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean. Yeah,
Yeah. And I feel like he came in at a very interesting time. Again, the big season 10, bringing in a bunch of heavy hitters, and came in after I believe SCTV like recently like, just ended, and then they brought him on.
right.
And I feel like both him and Tina Fey, I feel like they are cast members where the stuff they did like not as a cast member are more well known than what they did actually on the show as a cast member. I feel like
Mm,
I feel like maybe with the exception of Ed Grimley, I don't think really anyone remembers much of like Martin's time on the show as a cast member, at least like the casual audience. And I feel like with Tina, she's really only known like of course for Update, but also like Sarah Palin, but what she did after Update and probably some
yeah,
other like sketches she did while she was hosting. But again, not like as a cast member, which I
right.
think makes both Martin and Tina very interesting people on Saturday Night Live.
It does, it does. And yeah, like you said, the whole of season 10 was it's something that hadn't ever been done before, nor has been done since.
Right.
And obviously Martin's not the only star out of it. He is like one of the one of the ones that comes back the most, one of the ones that's most
Mhm.
associated with all of that and
Yeah.
still tied to SNL today. And
Yeah, and
then
you would think that he like probably hosted or was a cast member for much longer than one season, but like
oh,
the
of
way
course, yes, that's another thing. You would think with how much he's tied up to all this, it's like, oh, he must have been there 10, 11, 12 seasons. No, this is, he has been an SNL cast member for as long as Chloe Trost was.
right. Oh.
It's
Funny to
true.
remind
It's
you,
true.
man.
I'm not taking shots. It's true.
Yeah.
We know you're watching Chloe and you're a great singer.
Yes. Chloe
Yes.
Trost. And
Okay.
also the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Chevy Chase is also in this.
Yes. Very big.
An original cast member,
The original cast member, the first, it
star.
depends on how you look at it, but the first star. You
Yeah,
could
I'd say he was the
argue
first
that,
star.
yeah, but wow. Yeah,
Yeah, because I don't
very,
think that like, because I know he was actually getting like press and stuff, and I believe like after he won an Emmy after the first season, that's really when he started to really gain traction, where people were like, "Oh,
yeah,
Dan, Don, go to they're always like secondary people over Chevy," and then obviously he left, and then that's where they got their time to shine.
yes. And he was the first star to like blow up, because like you
Hmm.
said, you could argue that Belushi was also the first star, but it took him a little longer. Chevy
Right.
was blew up so fast and was gone in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
It was like a
Yeah.
shooting star almost.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
and yeah, and just like a very interesting cast member has like a lot of good, a lot of bad. I do think, controversy aside, he is a very funny guy because a lot of the
Of course, he's
pratfalls
great.
that he
That's the
does.
messy thing about him. He's
Yeah.
so good, but all of his off-camera stuff is like so bad. Like I heard, because I'm a big Community fan. I heard Joel McHale saying you have writing in his book, you have to literally prepare to like physically fight Chevy Chase on set, which
Mm,
is saying a lot considering how old he was when he was on
right.
Community, that he's like trying to fight all these young bucks like Joel McHale and them. It's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, actually, let me try to find out how old he was during Community.
Yeah, he must have been. I'd have to believe he was over 60 or 65.
he was 66. Yeah.
66. And you're trying to cause this much mess. Yeah,
Oh,
very
Chevy.
messy. And like
Yes.
the whole time too, because I heard he came those times when he came back in the 90s to
Hmm.
host, and it
Yeah.
was rough.
Yeah. I believe like during when he first came back to host, he had got into a fight with Bill Murray after Bill Murray called him a medium talent, which
Oh,
is
damn.
an iconic. I feel that's such an iconic insult that people need to start saying more. And
Wow.
I believe also when he came back for season 11, openly gay cast member Terry Sweeney said that he like recommended a sketch to him where he, I think it was like playing a guy that like had AIDS and something about that, which is like,
Oh, yeah, very sensitive subject, especially in the 1980s when it was like peak killing people and stuff.
yeah, I believe like his final time hosting, he had some sort of encounter with Cheryl Terry where he like slapped her. Which like,
Oh my God, I didn't even hear about that.
yeah, I can't remember if that was his like a second last time or last time, but like so, so yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
a Chevy for you.
Yeah, it's a very complicated thing. It's a very, what do you call it? Separate the art from the artist
Right.
thing.
Which
But
something I probably can do. I
I
know a
think
lot of
you
people can't.
can do. I think people have always had to do it. I don't think it's a new thing the way people think it is. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Buddy, if you look at some of the stuff from pre 90s, these people were crazy. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's something we can do. It's something we've always done. But you at least got to acknowledge it.
Right, right. And
Right.
let's get into
And
like
then
who.
for everybody else in this
Yeah.
movie, we have Alfonso Ara. I don't know too much about him. Did he go
As
on to do
El
some other
Guapo.
things? He's the guy that played El Guapo. Oh, El Guapo was something else in this shit, man.
Yeah.
Apparently he's still pretty out here kind of recently. He was in Coco. He was in Miami, but yeah, he has a few pretty good chunk of roles. But the person that I remember the most, because I've seen a lot. I don't know if I saw the whole thing, but I definitely saw a lot of Ugly Betty. Apparently, this
Mhm.
is one of the first things of Tony Plana.
Mhm.
He was the guy that played Ugly Betty's father. I know him from a lot of stuff like that. He's still out here. He was just in Only Murders in the Building last
Ooh.
season,
Oh
which
wow.
makes sense because of Martin and Steve. I didn't even
Yeah.
I just because I had watched that last year. I didn't even connect that to this because he was only in there like a little bit, but damn. And
Yes.
yeah,
And
he's
also,
been all
yeah,
over
and
the
also
place.
Patrice plays Carmen in
Yeah.
this. Oh,
Patrice, who I found out passed away a few years ago, but she
oh,
did have a pretty good run acting as well. She was a series regular on the Zorro series in the early 90s.
hmm, interesting. And then real quick, going to Tony Plana, looking. Oh, wait, hold on.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He's got a nice page. He's got a nice set of work.
No, I actually meant to say I'll fall into like going back to him. I see he was
Okay.
appeared on Miami Vice, which is like interesting.
A
And
little bit, yeah.
yeah. And have you heard of the show 227?
Of course.
Yeah, he appeared in that there. And yeah, Patrice Martinez as Carmen. Also, we have a former host of SNL, Joe, not Montana, but Mantegna.
Joe Mantegna. Yeah, was he the guy on what's it called? Fantasy Island? Or is that a different guy?
Oh, I have no idea.
Let me see. Nope. Nope, completely different person. I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of
Yeah,
something else.
he is Bill Brasky, but like sometimes he's like out, you know.
Right, right.
And he
But
did
yeah,
like a lot of different stuff here. So yeah, we
yeah.
also have someone who doesn't have a Wikipedia page, unfortunately. Jorge Cervera as Benito number one or Bandito number one. Uh, Kai Wolf, yeah, as one of the
Mhm.
Germans or as the
Oh, yeah.
German.
Wait,
Uh,
that hold up. That character never got a name. He was just a German. I
I feel
thought,
it's on brand.
I mean, for all of the hullabaloo that he gets into in that bar, as we'll see, as we'll talk about, damn, I really thought he'd at least get a damn name.
Yeah. But
Okay.
we also have Abel Franco, not no relation to James or Dave, fortunately, but as Papa Sanchez, Fred Asparagus, great name, as just bartender. That's it, just bartender.
Hmm.
We have a former cast member, as we mentioned, John Lovitz as Morty. Another former cast member, arguably the greatest cast member ever, Phil Hartman as Sam. And
Hmm.
then we have Betty Carvalho as Mel Sanchez, Candy Castillo as Benito 2, Jeff O'Hacko as Benito 3, Tino Insana, which I believe he actually had very close ties with John Belushi, because I believe before Belushi got on SNL, he was in a troupe with John. Let me try to look up the name. If
Oh
I can find
wow.
it here. Called West Compass Trios. Him, John, as well as another guy named Steve Buscekis, which John actually had a recurring character on SNL called Steve Buscekis. So
Oh
that's very cool.
wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think he only did like twice, but like yeah, so that's very interesting. Oh, and he plays the studio guard. We have Loida Ramos as Cochita, a villager. We have Philip Gordon, also a villager. His name is Rodrigo. Then we have Norbert Weiser as one of the German thugs. Brian Thompson as the other German thug. Randy Newman as the singing bush, and we'll get into that, but like
Yes.
that
Oh,
did not
Randy
sound like
Newman.
Randy Newman to me at all.
Randy Newman's got range, man. He's got range.
Yeah, and Rebecca Ferrati as the hot senorita. Like,
Yeah.
it's a great name.
Yeah. Very, very interesting uses of women in this movie at times. Okay, but yeah, it was really pleasant for me to see Tony Planet in there because I'd never seen him young. I had only seen him old, so it was really cool to see all that.
Yeah, I remember I felt that same way for watching a lot of the older SNL episodes, seeing like people that I've known for a while, like so young, like, oh wow.
Yeah, that's another thing. I don't think I'd ever seen. I had seen I had never seen a full thing of Martin Short young. I had seen Steve Martin young because I had watched The Jerk and other movies, but I had never seen a full thing of Martin Short young. It was like, wow, he's got some energy here. It's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. So let's get into this movie. So it's 1916. The notorious bandit El Guapo and his gang of thugs are collecting protection money from all the small Mexican villages, including the village of Santo Poco. Carmen, daughter of the village leader, searches for someone who can come to the rescue of the townspeople. She goes to a town bar looking for sharpshooters, but everyone is afraid of El Guapo. No one's willing to step up. One shooter steps up, but he only wants sexual favors from Carmen in exchange for his help. What did you think of this part?
I felt it was like really interesting. Right into it, I felt like the joke of like these like three old white men being supposed to be like Mexican legends was already like funny to me, and like just the whole interaction between.
I think seeing this part before definitely paints the context of it first, because it's like you see that everyone won't help. You see it's like how notorious El Guapo is. You see how serious this son is. This son is like more traumatized than the mom. It almost seems like because he's like taking it the way that he's taking it.
Yeah, like he's very.
I forgot the one thing before this.
Oh.
Before this scene, what is it? They're riding in on horses. You're referencing. We're riding in on horses, singing their own song. I did not expect that. I didn't expect this to be nearly as musical. I thought this would be like a slapstick, like really stupid type of comedy movie. And it was a lot more than I thought from the very beginning.
I watched this in the past like a couple of years ago, and I also forgot it was like very musical, and I wouldn't really expect that. I thought like, oh, just like these guys with shenanigans, but like, oh, well, let's throw in like a song in there, which like, why not? And my favorite part, go ahead.
And they're being comedic with music in a different way. Like usually when you see that it's like in a Lonely Island way where like the lyrics are funny and the subject matter, they're out here holding notes for like 45 seconds.
That's my favorite part of the song.
Yes. They're playing a very different game with their musical stuff back then.
But like to what you talked about earlier, it's like the interaction. I feel like I was kind of surprised like this is how it would start. I guess like I thought it would be like we're gonna see these guys maybe like an old film of theirs for like 3-ish minutes, and then maybe like them like reminiscing, and then we go into that plot. But no, we like immediately went to that section there, which I thought was very interesting. But like it does make sense like to establish the plot of the movie, which I feel is definitely important.
Yeah. I think it establishes the stakes of the movie, the plot and the stakes, because the stakes feel very serious if like she's out here with her son, we're the only ones left from this village. It's like, okay, it must be pretty serious for you to come all this way to the next town and be begging people for it.
Right, right. Mhm.
Right. Okay. And then while visiting a small church, she remains to watch a silent film featuring the Three Amigos and how they team up to save a Mexican village from the oppression of the bandits. They see the names of them, which is Lucky, he's an expert with the lasso, Ned is the gunslinger, and Dusty is fast with knives. In this film, they refuse payment from the villagers, rather saying that justice is their reward. Carmen finds the address of the Three Amigos from the wagon that was transporting the film across Mexico. Believing them to be real heroes, Carmen sends a telegram to Hollywood asking them to come and stop El Guapo. Excuse me. In exchange for 100,000 pesos. However, the telegraph operator edits her message down since she only has 10 pesos to pay for it. That reads, "You are great, 100,000 pesos. Come to San Poco to put on a show and stop the infamous El Guapo."
Right, right. And
I think this told us
a
a
lot
lot
happens. Yeah,
immediately.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
First of all, there's silent film actors. That was painfully clear to me at the very beginning. So I'm like, why would she think that they would be able to help in any meaningful way?
I think she
I
might
don't
just
know.
block that part out. She's so intrigued by the film that she just thought was real, which I guess also shows how good of a film it was.
I guess so. I guess so. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just pretty much saying that, and like the film in general, like gave me a good chuckle of like how they were like shooting the villains and the way they were falling made me
Yeah.
amused for some reason. And I always kind of wonder like when looking at these films, like I wonder like if it was kind of like a pain back then, just like all this action, like no dialogue until like you get like someone like kind of like mouthing, and then it shows like two words on screen. I wonder because I also like wonder like how long these films were back in those days, where it's like okay, I gotta like watch this, and this for like however long. Which because I feel like if movies were like that today, with them being like 3 hours, like
Oh
they would
yeah,
not be.
a long silent. I think the silent films were kind of short.
Mm,
I think the silent films were kind of short, so it wouldn't be able to do all that like that. But it's definitely would have been difficult to do that the way they did it now. And then um it's so convincing, and I just noticed something when I was reading that. Apparently, an ace with a lasso and an ace with knives, they don't do none of that in the movie.
mhm.
Like they only use guns in like the rest of this movie. I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't think that needed to be, or if it was, I don't know. But I'm not sure anyone uses the lasso in this movie outside of this scene, do they?
I think there's like one scene where Lucky's like I think like, he's kind of showing off his lassoing, but like that's pretty much it.
Yeah, man, it's not that kind of film. And
Mhm.
then we immediately see like how poor they are, that it feels it feels shady to offer $100,000 when you literally only had $10 to pay
Mhm.
for to even get this message sent. It's
Yeah,
wild.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
And it just like shows like another just like kind of charming silliness to it. And I did actually think, wow, very like crushable, even though like as you already established, like it clearly says like this is a film. I think it's very charming that this woman thinks it's like legit, which again I think is like very cute. And yeah, like the scene of like she's trying to send a message to them, but like oh you get the like what is it like
The 10
only
pesos
the
version.
and the 10 pesos version.
Because I believe it costed 23, so they shaved it in
Yeah,
half and some.
yeah, and that's a scene
Yeah.
that I thought was really funny.
That was very funny. I will say, I think Patrice Martinez's acting in this is pretty good because she's so scared and like
Mhm.
worried about it, even though it the concept of this seems like pretty stupid. Like
Right.
Like
Yeah,
it's
she
almost like
people.
in Splash when she was mad that those like I can't believe those people. Have you seen Splash? The one with Tom Hanks and
I think I've seen like
and
I think I've seen like a bit of it. I think like
yeah.
one time, like an
Well,
old yeah.
yeah, I was watching Splash and then she was like so upset. She was like crying. She's like, I can't believe those people died in that thing. And it was like it's a TV show. And she's like basically the opposite here. Like those guys must be really heroic for real and can kill bad guys for real. And it's like, no,
Yeah,
this is a movie.
yeah, I could kind of see like someone maybe like seeing someone that acts like that and be like, oh, she's too easy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So, anyways, they get the message out. It's headed to Hollywood. Meanwhile, Lucky Day, Dusty Bottoms, and Ned Nedlander are in Hollywood silent film are in Hollywood as silent film actors who portray the heroic amigos on screen. When they demand a salary increase, studio boss Harry Flugelman fires them on the spot, and he's pissed too. He has them evicted from the studio mansion, banned from the lot, stripped right there because they borrowed wardrobe, and shortly after they receive a Carmen's telegram, but vastly misinterpret it as an invitation to do a performance with El Guapo because they don't know what infamous means. They don't know what a lot means in this movie.
Right.
Um, and they believe that infamous is when a person becomes more than just famous. And reckon El Guapo is the biggest star to ever come out of Mexico after breaking the studio, after breaking into the studio to retrieve their costumes. The Amigos head for Mexico. What did you think about this?
This was a really great scene, and one thing I first wrote down when the scene started was like just like my SNL brain gets excited and like seeing John felt like, oh look, John loving the Phil Hartman, amazing, and they both had like such classic John Lovitz and classic Phil Hartman energy to like their characters. Like Phil was like overly serious, and Lovitz was also serious, but kind of like smarmy in the same way. Like, oh hey, you gotta do this and stuff. And I really like the line of like when they were saying, oh hey, like we need money. We can't do we have to do the show, and if we don't get more money, then we're not going to do the show. Then they said, "Amigo money, no dough, no show." And I thought it was a really great line. And also, I like when they were getting their clothes taken off, like none, like
Yeah.
they were saying like no, don't do it, but they were actually moving at all. They weren't doing nothing to prevent them from like stop taking their clothes off. And also the way they were getting kicked out, I thought was very amusing too. And I also like how like they also didn't really know like what infamous means because in a way like I kind of felt that way too for the longest time because I like see something infamous to go here's the infamous thing but this really just means like good so like is it bad is it good of course now I know it's bad but like at the time like I saw people using it in different like ways where I was like so what exactly does it mean like is it good is it bad like what is it.
Yeah, man. I think very early in my life, I heard infamous and notorious together. And I'm like, well, those obviously mean the same thing. It's like famous for a bad thing. But the rest of this, I just, Joe Montana gets so mad at just a very small notion. He doesn't even try to negotiate with. He is like screaming at the top of his lungs. What? How dare nobody tells me? I swear to God, he is going off. Like he is. I mean, you would have thought they banged his sister right in front of him or something. He's
Right.
losing his mind about this and
Now the pure
to
definition of it's
strip
not that deep.
them of their clothes right then and there. Like, no, go to the bathroom. No, they say, no, get him out of here. And they don't even tell him to give. He makes one call and they're out of the mansion. Like they don't have like well, sir, what do we do with their stuff? Well, should we move their cars out the driveway? He's just like, nope, out of the mansion. Boom. Yeah, this part is really crazy to me. I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like that. It did remind, which obvious, there's a few times this happens in this movie, but a lot of it reminded me of Blazing Saddles. which is a very. Have you seen Blazing Saddles?
Uh, I'm familiar with it, but I haven't seen it. No.
Oh man, Blazing Saddles. The first thing that reminds, and I'll have another one. The first thing that reminds me of Blazing Saddles is that there's this like rich jerk who's trying, who's just controlling everyone and like being an asshole. It's not the same because in Blazing Saddles they're trying to do something much more nefarious, and we see the rich jerk like come up again and again.
Mhm.
But with this guy is just so mean and so angry and just abuses his power on these actors. Like, was there no? I mean, I know it was 1916, but was there no actors union to protect them from at least being able to get their shit out of the mansion? Like, Jesus Christ.
I
Yeah.
guess not. And also, when they were stripping down, I legit thought they would be like fully like butt naked, and which I always put in some sort of like scene where they're like
Oh, I would
looking
have
at each other,
liked to,
looking at.
man. I
Also, the
think
scene
it
where
was
they're like,
because this was rated, I think, PG.
yeah,
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 I would have liked to see them like, like literally hand over their dicks, and that's all we got. It's like, well, also, speaking of not stripping them down enough, they let them keep their hats for some reason. I saw
right,
that. I'm like, what the? Hold up. You mean to tell me that you took all their shirts, all their pants? I'm not sure if they took their shoes, but you can keep the hat.
right.
What's up with that?
Yeah, like hey, you can have something, but like everything else is gone. And also, I was fully expecting like a nude scene, and then when they were all like, look, when it was like be a naked, I thought we were gonna get like some sort of joke where like, they're looking down at their penises, like, oh wow, yeah, like yours bigger than mine or something. Like,
Yeah, no, this was.
but I feel it would have been a lot funny.
It would have been funnier, but I think it was because of the rating. But man,
Right.
that would have been hilarious. And then they just had to steal everything back. Yeah, it was really crazy. And I would have liked for them to get angrier. Like they're getting kicked out of Hollywood, and it's like, well, wait a minute, hold up. I just wait. Well, trying to talk to them. No, this is their livelihood. Like, put up more of a fight. At least one of them would. You later see that they are capable of it too, just not with something like this.
hmm And it seems like Lucky out of like all of the entire movie is the only one that kind of gets real angry because Ned and Dusty are just like clueless, like sidekicks the entire time. Like
Yeah.
Lucky, who obviously is kind of established as like the main leader, is the only one that gets angry. Even he doesn't get like like you know.
Yeah, yeah, they are very much the side. They're all kind of dumb, but it feels like Dusty and Ned are like really dumb. And then,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
and then but
I
there
thought
is
there's like a
one.
lot of scenes in the movie where that gets like established very fast.
Yes, yes, but I do like this one thing. They show a little bit of competence because when they well, this breaking in scene is obviously one of the first times we see how stupid he's doing bird calls for like damn near 3 minutes straight. And they're just leaned down like, man, I sure hope Lucky calls us.
Like, oh man,
And
you
then
hear
he's like,
that?
hey,
Wow.
you get up here now.
Yeah, they're just like so oblivious, like, oh, and what's that noise? It's such a nice day out. Like, just like looking
Yeah,
around.
they don't know nothing. But I was gonna say they do show the slightest bit of like action heroics when they do that rope swing thing. And
hmm
like and also we'll see later in the movie that meant nothing. That's not
Yeah.
actually how good of rope swingers they are. But it looked like early on, at least at this point in the movie, I was like, okay, they can do a rope swing thing. They can kind of sneak in. They have what it takes to be real heroes in
hmm
some capacity.
And one thing is really great is when
Yeah.
they have moments like that, they do it like so confidently, like, oh, like we're not nervous at all. We gotta do this, and they don't do it, and then it's like a little bit embarrassing. Like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not super great at this, which I think really like makes the scene like as makes it much better.
I agree. I agree. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's really crazy. Anyways, they're headed for Mexico. And at a cantina near Santa Poco, I believe it was the same one that Carmen was at earlier. A German pilot inquires about El Guapo and demands respect for him for his friends who will arrive soon. The German is a fast draw and shoots anyone who aims at him with a gun, stopping at the cantina near Santa Poco. The Amigos are mistaken for associates of a fast shooting German pilot who is also looking for El Guapo and who arrived just before they did. They mistake the fearful patron for a starstruck fans and perform a cheerful song of My Little Buttercup. After they leave, the Germans' associates arrive and shoot up the cantina when the off-guard patrons mock their fine German clothes.
So a lot to this scene, yeah, as we just established, and I really like how the German is like so serious. As soon as entering that bar, you do not want to mess with him,
No.
and I feel like that shows like a good character, for him, and like he's like just so like dead serious. And I feel like aside from that, like nothing really like stood out to me until like the epic like shooting that happened between the entire bar. It was like bang 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 bang. I'm like, oh like, wow, like that, like legitimately it made me jump. And it was another scene where like every type of like thing is getting destroyed, everyone's fallen, everyone's guns are being just shot everywhere, and it's like making like the whole bar a complete mess, and everyone being scared for their lives. And it did get a good chuckle out of me.
I think there's so much to this scene. First of all, the German, who again has no real name in this movie, is a very interesting character for even to be here. We later find out that he's delivering guns to El Guapo. There's just so much going on. This is 1916, so it's pre a lot of controversy that Germany's going to get into with World War II, but it's still very much at the time present to all of the things that Germany is doing in World War One, but they don't get into any of that. He's a pilot. Apparently, he's flown up, not a ship, a plane that Ned is very familiar with, and he's just a really interesting character. We almost know nothing about him, but like you said,
Honestly,
he's
that's probably
terrible.
for the best. Honestly, that's probably for the best that we don't know anything about it.
That's probably for the best. I mean, given the many controversies around Germany in the
Yeah.
1900s, but it's just so much. It's just such a fascinating, mysterious thing, and he's also like a total badass. Like he might be the hardest character in this whole movie, including El Guapo.
Yeah, I think he's more harder than El Guapo. It's like
It feels like it. He's out
yeah.
there shooting people. He shoots through the whole balcony. He scares the shit out of these people, and then the big part of this that I think might be underrated, he's like, look, y'all better respect my friends. They're not as nice as I am. They're not as nice as I am. I just shot up the whole bar and ruined your balcony. And these guys are supposedly worse. And then it's just so much going on about this German fellow who again has no name. I think I said he was the hardest villain so far. I think he might be the hardest villain having seen the whole thing. It's crazy.
100% agree, because I feel he's more
Yeah.
tougher than El Guapo, because I feel for Guapo, because I feel the German is more not intimidated than El Guapo, because I feel like El Guapo, like when he sees the Three Amigos first, we'll get to a little bit later, he's like confused and like what's happening here, but like the German, he doesn't do that at all. He's like not phased at all, like ain't not taking anyone's bullshit, like none of it.
Yeah. Plus, thinking about the larger universe of this movie, he is their supplier, which means he knows like the guns connect in this universe, who probably has like a crazy amount of guns. So we don't even know where all that ties into all this. Anyways, the Three Amigos come in here thinking to be, they kind of accidentally are like milking this. Like they don't even know that they are supposed to be someone else that the patrons of the bar think they are. They're so scared that they let them do this whole dance. Like they're singing along to them to the point where they call out and they call out the words and they're like, they say the exact lines of the song because they're so scared. They're milking this. They're milking a performance out of them where they're also being like soft little theater actor boys like they are. And it's
Yeah.
like it's such a strange dynamic that they could actually get them to do this, not off anything that they've done, but off the fear of a different man.
Yeah, I think like this entire scene is probably my favorite out of the whole thing. Just like them are being like so terrified over what like the Germans just told them, and them thinking
Yes.
these are the ultimate badasses of like this entire group, and them being like so intimidated by this like charming song, where and it feels like of course in their mind they're like, oh, finish the song, like if you don't finish this book, okay, go a buttercup, like don't hurt me. And
Yeah.
also right before that, the tequila shot they take, and which gives like a great, at least for Martin, a very Ed Grimley like reaction towards him, which I
Yes.
didn't appreciate.
Yes, it does, man. Out of context, this scene must be crazy to see them, all these hard, because like I'm imagining them like the villain NPCs in like a Red Dead Redemption 2 kind of thing. The I forget what it was, El Lobos, the scary Latino gang. I feel like these are those kinds of people, and they're scared of these guys singing and dancing. It's so funny. And then to add to another level, they go in there, they get what they want, they leave. And because they thought that they were there, they thought the Three Amigos were the German dude's friends. When the German
Right.
dude's friends come in here, they actually talk shit about them, and then they paint the bar red a second time. Like
Yeah.
that's like that's it makes so much sense why that bartender would think that, because it's like, bro, I just got my bar shot up like 2 times in the last 10 minutes.
You're right. Like, what is this
And
day
in
today?
no, and in between the middle of that, I got a sing and dance show. Like this is the craziest day of work he's ever had in his life.
In a way, I feel this entire scene is like an SNL sketch in itself, where like you threatening people, but you do it with a nice, like, fun, charming song. I feel like maybe something, I feel like that might be something they actually did, but I can't really remember. I feel like there was certainly a sketch that the show did where it's like, like threatening but also charming at the same time. Like they like threaten you with charm. I feel like there's definitely a sketch like that somewhere.
Maybe
But
it
like, yeah,
was, and I mean,
yeah,
it's just so crazy that these three things would come back to back to back like this.
right.
It's so, there's such strange sequences for it to sandwich that in that way. I just wow. And another thing, as we said, this was a much more musical movie than I thought, you know? Yeah, man. Okay, so after that, a relieved Carmen finds the amigos and picks them up and takes them to the village, where they are put in the best house in town and treated very well. The next morning, when three of El Guapo's men, I don't know if I said this already, but they stole back their Three Amigos costumes from the movie, so that's why she recognizes that it's them. The next
Yeah.
morning, when three of El Guapo's men come to raid the village, the Amigos do a Hollywood-style stunt show that leaves them very confused. The bandits ride off, making everyone think that the Amigos defeated the enemy. The village throws a huge party for the Amigos and their supposed victory. In reality, the men who ran off informed El Guapo of what has happened, and he decides to return in force the next day to murder the Amigos.
And right off the bat, I like when she like recognizes them and she goes to greet them and she like kisses their hands. I believe Lucky says, "I told you we'd be down here." I thought it was a good line. And yeah, just like her like meeting them again, like just so like elated that they're like here because again, like she still thinks it's legit, and they're like close to like, oh, like we're just here for a show that like this person wants, like which is like very cool. And just like yeah, like they're treated, I believe, like right after they are treated to like a Mexican dinner between the family and them. A great line from Dusty, like where he's like struggling to like, eat the Mexican food. And he does, "You have anything else other than Mexican food?"
I've never seen someone fumble Mexican. His whole shit is falling out of the tortilla. It's terrible. And I'm from California, so I've been eating Mexican food like basically my whole life. And to see this go like this is like so bad.
Yeah, and I'm a big Mexican food lover myself, and even
Yeah.
I can understand like sometimes like tacos and burritos they're like hard to eat because like you eat them so much and then like stuff starts falling out. But like you
That's
even like start eating it and then everything
no,
just
I don't think he got a single bite.
no. And that was a great look, and I also kind of like the tension between Carmen and Lucky throughout the scene where she's like just smiling from ear to ear, looking at him, and she's like, "Oh, well."
Yeah. It's very clear that a lot of the women from the village are like smitten with them a little bit. And it may be that they're actually like handsome within the context of the movie, but it may also just be that they look heroic. I don't know. But
which
yeah,
I get that.
I get that. I get that. But yeah, um, it's getting pretty interesting as they go to the house. They explain it to them. And like I said, just them not knowing how to eat Mexican food. It's just continuing to show that this is like a fish out of water. They're not only not supposed to be here like in a like I guess cultural racial kind of way. They're not supposed to be here in an occupational kind of way either. Like
Right.
they're so not what they're supposed to be doing in all of this.
Mhm.
And then they're starting to realize it. I mean, I think they knew from the beginning, but now they really, really know. And then they go to bed, and something interesting I noticed.
Well, first of all, before you make that thought,
Yeah,
I just want to say I really like the visual of all three of them just like squeezed together in the bed. Sorry,
yeah, you're right. Yes, yes, it is
but you
kind of
go
funny.
ahead.
But yeah, you start to see the that Ned is kind of the heart of this
Mhm.
trio, if not the whole movie, because
I would say the whole movie, yeah.
it kind of feels like he is. Yeah, because the first thing they do, they're like, "What are you gonna do? What's your part of the 100,000?" Oh, I'm gonna. What was it he said? I forget what he says, but I know Dusty
They
says he
like
wants to go to
buy a
Paris.
car
Oh,
or
he says he
something.
wants the all silver car. You're right. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. He wants the all silver car. And Dusty says he wants to go to Paris. And then Ned is like, "Oh, I'm gonna donate it to a homeless children's shelter and build a foundation."
Yeah.
And they're like,
Like, oh yeah, I do
"Oh
that
shit,
too.
I
Yeah.
guess I should have said that too." I would also do that. And it reminded me a little bit of the Steve Martin Christmas sketch.
Yeah.
Where
First
it's
we care
first
about
I'll
the
do
kids.
all the shit with all the kids, and then second,
Yeah. Like I still care about them, but also there's also this I need.
yes, yes, yeah. So like I said, it starts to show that Ned is sort of the heart of this film. He's so he's so warm and nice, and I was like, is this actually gonna stick? Because we've done enough movies now to where they start something and
Hmm.
then it does not thread through the whole movie. This
Yeah.
kind of threaded through the whole movie, and I'm proud of them for doing that like that.
Yeah, and, two other things I want to mention. Since you mentioned that Christmas Wish sketch that Steve Martin does, I should also mention that I believe in promotion of this movie, they hosted SNL. All three of them, Chevy, Steve, and Martin, hosted SNL with musical guest Randy Newman. It was also
Damn.
which featured that sketch. I believe another famous sketch in that episode, but I can't remember right now. But yeah, they hosted. Also, I
Wait, was
believe,
that of this movie? Because I know that it came out in December.
yeah, it was in promotion. They hosted
No, I'm
season
saying
12.
was the Christmas sketch with Steve Martin from that episode or no?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
Oh my! It's completely tied to that. Then
Yeah, and
that.
also I believe, and this is probably a case where I probably need good friends Mike Murray and John Schneider at the Saturday Night Network to figure it out. But I'm pretty sure that Steve Martin and Randy Newman are the only SNL host and musical guest pairing that happened twice because it also happened where Steve Martin solo and Randy Newman as musical guests in season 3 of the show, I believe. I want to
Oh
say that
wow!
was the premiere of that episode. So again, also Randy Newman again with Steve Martin, but like with Chevy and Martin, which I think is very great. So yeah, I probably have to check with them. But I think I'm right about saying that. So I just think it's great. And also I like the whole like I want to build a home for homeless shelter. I'll because I'm a big like reality TV fan. And I always know it's like with reality TV shows, they're like, oh, I'm gonna do this like very nice thing, like so they could get the money. Which I always kind of wonder, is that true or like you're saying that just to, like get the money? Because sometimes people are like legitimate with
Oh
it, but like
yeah,
yeah, some people just saying like anything just to get the money, which I can understand.
yeah, yeah. That's true. But yeah, like I said, his heart shows kind of early. It's not like super early in this movie, but I guess it's once we get to start knowing them. Because now that I think about it, it was probably because they had to start establishing them as more than just these idiots trying to save a town. They're like, well, we got to
Right.
give them another quality. We got to give this one heart. We got to give this one this. We got to give this one that.
And I honestly feel like every movie, maybe not exactly like heartfelt, but needs to have some sort of scene where it's not like goofy, like just sometimes like have some sort of like realistic like thing happen to like give the people more like character depth
Yeah,
for I feel
I agree.
those are really make the movies like comedy movies at least like better.
Yeah. And then after this, they wake up. They successfully, at this point, when they successfully ran them off, I'm like, these guys are the kings of failing upwards. I'm like, ain't no way that they would just do this, but they're just so confused. They shoot up in the air. They actually get them to leave. And I'm like, this is pretty crazy that they would fall for this. I feel like a lot of people would shoot them immediately as soon as they're like trying to give their little speech, you know?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's like they're like so confused. Where that's probably why they left. Like, oh, what? Like, you're doing this? Okay, never mind. I'm out here. You win. And
Yeah.
it's like charming to see like Carmen and them just like think it's legit because that's where like I start feeling like, oh man, like
Yeah, man. And then that little party afterwards, another one where you get to see Ned's heart because he's telling what is he? He telling that story on the porch with the kids and all that. And it's like real wholesome of like I think it was about like a studio or a casting director woman that believed in him or something of that nature.
yeah, I believe so. And I also took note of like maybe it's just like I was kind of looking at it wrong. Like for some reason, like the kids just looked bored out of their minds listening to that story. Both of them were just. I saw like two kids were like like hands on their face, for like
Yeah, they did
I
look
want
something
to do,
like
I
it.
do something else right now than listen to Ned's story.
I mean, it's 1916. They didn't have much else to do.
Right,
What are
exactly.
they
So
gonna
we,
do? Sit around a fire?
yeah, right. They rather sit around a fire and listen to this story.
Let's see. Listen to this gringo or sit around a fire or go to bed. I guess I'll listen to him. Yeah, man,
Let's
it's
list the pros and cons of this.
it's the pros and cons of 1916. Anyways, um, so they had this huge party. Obviously, the men went back to El Guapo. The next morning, El Guapo comes in with 50 men to Santa Poco and call out the Amigos directly. But I think it's another show. Also, I don't think it said it because again, I think this was a PG movie, but they look like they're hungover as shit. Like they look really down bad when they wake up. They're like, ugh,
Yeah,
oh, geez. They want to
like
do
partying too
another
hard.
show. Oh my God. You know?
Like partying too hard, which is glad I
Yeah.
will never ever do that. At least not right now. Yeah,
At
maybe in a few
least
years,
not,
not right now. Wait a
at
second.
least not right now. Anyways, I think it's another show. After Lucky is shot, like for real shot, they are confronting real bandits and beg for mercy. The Amigos confess that they've only been acting and are way too scared to confront him after Lucky gets shot in the arm. El Guapo allows his men to loot the village, kidnaps Carmen, and the
Mm,
Amigos leave Santa Poco in disgrace with nothing waiting for them back home. Ned persuades Lucky and Dusty to become real life heroes and come after El Guapo. What did you think of this? There's a lot here.
yeah. Like he's like looking over my notes. First of all, we talk about like Lucky's reaction to them shooting. I thought I like really like that. Like hold on. This is not your part.
Yeah.
This is not what we scripted. You know, like he didn't
Yeah,
script anything.
I think he had flown at one point. Wait a minute.
Like hold it.
And it's crazy. He doesn't even realize that it's like for real till he sees the blood. Like, how do you get shot and then you don't even feel it enough and you got to see the blood to be like, hold up, wait a
Yeah.
minute.
Wait a second.
Yeah, and they
Is
like
this blood or did
fully,
I spill
yeah,
some hot dog ketchup on me or something?
yes, like he got damn ketchup on him or something. It's really weird how they handle this. You would think he'd be in like much more pain.
Yeah.
Also, right before, wait a minute. right before this, there's a there's a really crazy picture that he's taking. I think these are all the girls he's gonna sleep with. El Guapo. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on in that scene, but that looked really crazy right before this.
Yeah. I was like,
Anyways,
But also, another thing I want to point out is just like just them crying once they realize, oh, hey, yeah, this is real. This is real
oh
too.
yeah, they start getting do you know that little dry heave when you cry? That's their whole. They don't ever cry like for real. That's they just basically dry heave.
They just make the noise, but no tears actually show. And also, like, I wonder, like, how were they able to take a picture like that? Like, how
Don't
they had the camera set up or
I
whatever it
know
was.
it's so crazy. I know that that is like literally like 1 second of the movie, but
Yeah.
that looked like a really crazy. I don't know what they were going to do with that shit. Um, but yeah, I don't think that the bullet graze to the arm would hurt that little. I feel
Right.
like it's crazy that he has to realize that, and then he tries to talk to. I was also thinking at some point because this is the Three Amigos, because with one protagonist you can't do this, but with
Yeah.
three it comes up the thing that I was thinking. El Guapo's like they're funny, just kill one of them. I was thinking that this might happen at some point in this movie. Like one will get
Yeah.
kidnapped, or only one will get killed, and the other two avenge that person. I thought it would be something along those lines. No, they only say it, but they never actually pay it off. And obviously, Lucky has to beg them not to kill them. And like, oh yeah, we won't kill you. And they steal everything. They kidnap Carmen. And then when he goes back to the village leader, he's like, yeah, bro, they stole everything because your pussy asses wouldn't actually do nothing. And, and they took Carmen. Because they're like, can we get our clothes? Can we get our stuff? No, they took everything. Like, I think even in this moment, they didn't realize how real this was. Like, they thought they
Yeah.
could beg for their lives and they'd be like, okay, we got our lives back, and they didn't do any crimes. No, you got your lives back, and they did every crime in that city
Right.
and just didn't kill you because that's what actual criminals do.
Yeah, and like to your point earlier, like how like they didn't like actually kill like one of the three. I feel like if this wasn't a comedy movie, they probably would. If it's like just generally three
Oh,
like
yeah.
people, they definitely would have killed off one of them. Like oh Ned, oh Ned, or Dusty or Lucky, and
If they would have killed Ned because of who he
yeah,
is, that would have, yeah. Because
yeah,
he was like the best one in terms of like morality.
right.
So if they killed him, it's like, oh shit, all is really lost. We better, whoa.
And to the other point you were making, hold on, let me try to find my notes here. Oh, and to the other point of like when they're like, "Oh, don't kill me," and then like, okay, it would be funny like after they like realized, like they like took everything, like they came out to them like, "Hey, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant for you to do. Like, keep me alive and
Fucking
keep
hilarious.
everyone."
You're right.
That would be so funny.
I said, don't kill me. I also meant don't steal.
I mean, be good from start to finish.
That would have been, oh my goodness, that would have been very funny. But yeah, dude, they took everything. It's looking really bad. They're down bad. They have nothing at this point. And I was like, in real life, this is where the movie like actually ends. Like they don't actually the Americans don't help the poor little town of these Latino people, and it just ends bad and they get stole from, and then they go back home. No, it doesn't end here. They do say we don't belong here anyway, which has set in the harshest of ways at this point. Like the only way it could have been more we don't belong here is if they were like bleeding out about to die. And then I gotta say this motivational speech by Ned, and I've seen every episode of Only Murders in the Building, and I still think this might be the best acting I've ever seen from Martin Short.
Ooh,
This
interesting.
speech right here, where he's like so serious and like so we don't have anything. We don't have this. We don't have that. We may as well stay here and be heroes. It was like
Right.
it was like rousing. Like it was like wow, I didn't even know he had that in him. And it shows again that Ned is like so the heart of this whole thing. It's like I didn't it really pulls them together, but it also to me feels like it pulls you in the audience, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, he's the motivational speaker that Matt Foley should have been.
Yes. Yes.
And also, I don't know why, but like, for some reason, like when like Ned was talking, I legit thought he was like going to like kill himself. I don't know why. Because like
Yeah.
the way like just like by himself, just kind of giving that speech, like, "Oh hey, we have to do this, we have to do this," like, and like, but I can't do any more than like bow. I'm like, "Oh, Ned, what are you doing? What are you doing, bro? Like, you
Exactly.
can't be doing this. We're the three amigos."
With the three amigos. And we don't need to go to a van down by the river.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it was so it's just I really enjoyed this performance by him. It was wow. I never thought of it like that. And the other two are still kind of being who they are, kind of selfish, kind of dumb. He really pulls himself up. And I would say is the reason that this movie continues, because I totally think they would have left had he not given the speech.
Yeah, and also like the big leap of all three of them give before they go into the next scene of them on the horses. They just like boom, like right on top of
Oh
the.
yeah, they do a lot of that. They do a lot of
Yeah,
leaping, which is not easy to do. I fully don't believe this was them, but maybe it was. But
yeah.
even if you are a stunt actor, that's not easy.
Like
Like
yeah, it's something you
jumping
can't
onto the
do.
back of a horse from the ground straight up is very difficult to do.
Yeah,
And then also to land, right? Because like to even like
right.
get up on a horse properly, you got to like do some settling in. To
You
jump
probably like land
straight
like
onto the saddle perfectly is like,
right.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
the rest of a horse is like slippery because of the way its fur is. You'll slide off and bust your ass if you
Yeah, I
do.
feel like if this movie had some blooper reels, that would definitely be a blooper reel we would see like of it over
Oh
and over
yeah.
and over. Yeah,
I'm
which I
sure
would
I'm
like
sure
so
the
great.
Wranglers and the stunt people had a
Yeah.
time doing this, and
Mhm.
hopefully nobody got stepped on by a horse because that can really fuck you up too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but man, yeah, they jump on the thing. They also, what is the dance they do? The Three Amigos one where they do the huh and the pump at the end.
Oh, I I thought there's definitely an official name for that, but I don't know what it
I don't know
is.
what it is. I thought it was something they created in this movie only.
I think it is actually because I don't remember seeing it anywhere else, and
Yeah, man.
yeah,
If
was
they
that
ever remake this movie, they got to
mhm.
bring Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah,
Yeah, because this is the grandfather of the Hingle McCringleberry.
right.
Yeah, man, they do that and they jump onto those horses and they try to go and capture um El Guapo or defeat him. So
Hmm.
yeah, their first attempt to find his hideout fails. Um they're told first of all, they go for I think he said they go for like 4 miles and then he's like they got to go back and they're like, how far do you think we actually got before we had to go back in X direction? Yeah. So they go over there. I'll read it out, but this is when the movie started
Yeah.
to get stupid for me in a way that I really liked. The first attempt to find the hideout fails. So they go back out there. They're in like the sweltering heat, the desert. Um, oh my, oh,
It's a lot, and like it's in like the worst lit green screen I've ever seen in my life.
oh yeah, right. Because this is at the point where they're at the fire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my, terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Like
This
wow,
was
come
the
on.
fakest looking cactus I've ever seen. The sky doesn't look real. The rest of the desert doesn't look like if it almost
Lauren
looks like
Michaels, be better. Come on.
yeah, like this was Spy Kids level
Right.
bad effects. Like my
Yeah.
God.
They make Sharkboy and Lava Girl look like a masterpiece.
Exactly. Exactly. Anyways, their first attempt to find it fails. They do that. They go to the fire with the bad set design and effects. They also what is this
Wait, what are
yeah,
they
they
eating?
go over wait, I know where we are.
Okay.
They go to the Again, it gets really silly at this point. They go to the singing bush,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
is
real quick before we continue that, like they're like eating something. Like, what were they eating at the
I
fireplace?
I
Like,
think he said, "Were your wings done?" So I'm guessing they killed a bird and set it up and cooked it.
yeah, and also they sing a song with a bunch of animals, and really that owl was getting into it. He
Oh,
like,
that was
mm,
also such a funny thing to me.
like moved his head
That
left and right.
I was cracking up at this point because when those horses started singing, and was it a squirrel that started singing or something?
Yeah, I believe the squirrel, then like a turtle showed up, and then a
Oh,
horse.
and the turtle starts.
Yeah. Every time I look back on this movie, I just remember like that brief, like 3 seconds of the owl just like get into it. Like,
I loved this part. This was one of my loudest laughs of the whole thing. I, because up to this point, this movie is musical, but not in a way that it starts to get like fantasy level. But when I started seeing this, I'm like, I wonder if they ever remade Three Amigos as a full-on musical and gave it like Wicked level production, we could be looking at one hell of a movie.
yeah,
Like,
and
oh my gosh.
and in a way, I feel like for not maybe I'm not sure who, but I feel like one of the three each have to be Michael Longfellow. I feel like he would do great in one of those three roles. Probably Chevy's role. I feel maybe.
I don't know who it would be, but they got to get something together.
Yeah,
I think it's time to remake this movie. Okay,
yeah,
they
right.
still, I yeah. But let me keep going.
Yeah.
They get after that. They get they get to the magical singing bush. Oh no, it is right before this that they are running out of water. They're way too hot, and
There's sand in like
don't have one doesn't have no water.
yeah,
Ned
like
has
Lucky doesn't have
sand
no
in
water.
his canteen, and
Dusty.
this is so fucked up. Like I
Yeah,
would, like other people might have kicked Dusty's ass for this. He has like gallons of water in his canteen, gives them none, drinks a bunch of it, spits his out, and then throws it on the ground
throws it. It's
for
like
it
half of
to
it still
leak
left.
into the rest of the desert.
And then he has the audacity to just put some lip balm on. Be like, oh, lip balm? Like, no, not the lip balm. I want some water. And he just wasted it all. Like, come on. I had to eat sand, and you have all that water. Come on.
Yeah, this 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 little stretch of scenes is the stupidest, funniest part of this whole
Oh,
movie to me. The animals to the canteen to, like I said, the singing bush. They get to the singing bush. It's just
and here I
singing.
thought, Sisters was wild. Like, no, this duck takes the cake.
Oh man, this is pretty good. Don't bag on sisters now. They're funny in two different ways. But yeah, um, they get to the stinging bush. They try to negotiate whether to try to talk to him. It will not say any real sentences to them. So then they recite the ceremony and shoot up in the air. But only two of them shoot up in the air. Dusty shoots like backwards and he kills the invisible swordsman that's supposed to help them locate El Guapo. Then they spot the plane to follow him. Ned notices the plane. The plane is flown by the German who has bought a shipment of rifles to the gang. With associates' help, preparations are underway for El Guapo's 40th birthday, and he plans to make Carbon his bride. Yeah, so so what did you think of this
Like,
sequence of things up at the singing bush?
you just I just love how the singing bush would just not stop singing. Just
Would
kept on
not
going
stop,
and going
not
and
at
going.
all.
And I wish I
Didn't
took
even
note
try
of
to
every.
acknowledge him.
I wish I took note of every song the singing bush was singing, but like I think I started like laughing like where it was still going, and then they started singing "For She's a Jolly Good Fellow," and I believe like they didn't sing that entire song until like the next scene.
Yes.
It was
Yes.
like, oh wow. So I guess like if that was a real thing, people would just visit it. She's like, oh, I need to get away, and they're just like listen to this singing bush, like, yeah, like
Yeah.
this stuff right there, and, and just like I just love how like they're holding their scene goes on while it's still singing.
Yes.
Like
It
it's like
never
it's just
stops
background noise
throughout
at
the
this
rest
point.
of the whole thing.
Right.
Like,
That'd be very funny if like the end credits was just like the singing bush like still singing over the end credits. I thought that would have been great.
if they did that today, there would be an after credit scene of the singing bush still singing.
Yeah. I
And
look
it
at
was,
maybe like behind the scenes, like it'll be singing, and they'll show like the person like still singing, like it'll be like crew laughing in the background. I feel like that would have been like very great. If that came out like within the last like 15 years.
yes, yes. I do wonder, because I know they must have done ADR with Randy Newman singing for this. I do wonder
Yeah.
if they had them acting against a bush that had no music coming out of it, or if they actually like put a speaker in that bush so it would be singing while they were talking to it. I don't
Ooh.
know.
I would probably think the first thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because you got to be a good actor to act against nothing, anyways, when you're at that level. So yeah, you do that, and then when he shoots this invisible swordsman, I'm like, we've ventured into a whole different type of movie now. It reminded me of in Atlanta when they had the invisible car and it ran over some people. It's like,
Yeah.
yo, what are we doing at this point? This is not the same type of movie that it was anymore when we're out here shooting invisible swordsmen.
So just like a whole bunch of things happening that just like it's like so like random. Like yeah, it just becomes like a completely different movie, but like it's just like so great and like it just filled me with joy every time.
Yeah, it did. Oh my goodness. And then they spot the cargo plane and it's flown by the German. What did you think of this? I think it's interesting that it took so long to see him again.
Yeah, I feel like all I did was kind of both surprised and like not surprised because I guess like he's like so threatening that like 'cause I feel like if they had him back again, it would be the same thing that we saw the first time. Where it's like, oh, he's threatening, everyone's scared, and like that's all they're gonna do with him. So I'm kind of glad like they hold back on him a little bit because again it could just be too repetitive. I'm glad it wasn't that, but like yeah, I was expecting him like a little bit earlier, but like how they used him, I'm fine with.
Yeah, I think they took so long to keep him off. I feel like some people probably forgot that he was even in this movie, you know?
Totally, yeah.
So yeah, um, playing this one by the German who has brought the shipment of rifles to his associates for help. Preparations are underway for El Guapo's 40th. Preparations are underway for El Guapo's 40th birthday, and he plans to make Carmen his bride. The Amigos try to sneak into the hideout with mixed results. Lucky is captured and chained up in a dungeon, and Dusty crashes through a window in Carmen's room, and Ned ends up stuck in one of the pinatas.
In classic Ned fashion. Just like
Yeah,
but I like when I believe like the lady talks to Carmen, she's like, "Oh, you have to like marry El Guapo." She's like, "I'd rather die," and I believe like she says, "Oh, it's okay." Like, so will El Guapo or some sort of line like that that I thought was amusing. But yeah, like this just shows like the characters like physical like natures at an absolute high, and just like the various different ways they get themselves into trouble is like really great. Like as like aforementioned, Ned getting stuck with the pinata, just Dusty just making his way, just try to convince people going around, and then them eventually seeing Lucky and every single one of them just throwing him with a gun, which it definitely I thought was very funny and it just like leads to like them arresting him and putting him into a jail where they like have him like changed up and like he
yeah.
like tries to find like a way to figure out and he does but like it requires him to move with all these like big heavy weights on him and I like when he does it he's like oh gonna make it oh not gonna make it and then bow like ow.
Yeah, there's a lot in this scene, in these set of scenes. So first of all, this this conversation that El Guapo has with Tony Plano's character. This dude's not good because he's out here saying like Tony
Oh,
Plano was
plethora.
essentially, yeah, the bad guy. His henchman is essentially being like, you may as well just like rape her, and it's like, no, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to make her have sex with me or I'm going to kill her. And I'm like, what the? That's the same thing. You're not like a noble villain for doing that. You're still a piece of shit for doing that like that. And then the other one is, and this is really weird. He's like, are you insecure that it's your 40th birthday? Like, we're having such strange existential questions about the villain of this movie. And I'm like, are we really doing that like that? There's so much going on here. Again, the Germans show up. They allow them to party with them, which, what did you think about this? For the seriousness of how the Germans have been in this movie at this point, do you think they would actually celebrate a birthday party with them or not? I don't know.
No, no. If we saw like some sort of scene where they had a little bit of heart, then maybe. But, like we didn't, so absolutely not. And I just like, well, first of all, I felt like I believe the guy who was like talking on the ground while El Guapo was on the horse.
Mhm.
Look at this with modern eyes. He looked very Jack Sparrow, very Jack
Yeah,
Sparrow.
he does a little bit. Yeah, because he's got the big old long
Yeah,
hair.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even
and
think about that. It makes sense.
yeah, and again, like as I mentioned, like the whole plethora talk, I thought was very funny. Like, so what is plethora? Do you know even know what it
Oh,
means?
a
Like,
plethora of pinatas, and yeah, he's like, well, what is? Yeah, this was some really. They really gave them like some real legitimate dialogue to work with in a
mhm.
scene that doesn't really do anything. It doesn't drive the plot
Yeah,
forward. It kind of develops them as characters, but because they're both villains, it's like I don't think this develops them in a way that makes me like change how I feel. It's not like like in some movies where they develop the villain and it's like, oh, he had a really tragic past or he has a child that he's doing this for. It's not developing them in any way like that. It's just like,
yeah.
you kind of
The
insecure
scene,
about your birthday? Yeah, I am. That
yeah,
changes nothing.
this scene is just like not bad filler, but filler in a way because we don't really need it. It
It's
doesn't
definitely
contribute
is
anything.
filler and it's filler in a, it's not because usually when you get filler, it's like completely
Right,
uninteresting filler. This is
right,
interesting filler, but
yeah,
again, it's not taking us anywhere. This
right,
is,
exactly.
I'm not
But
even
like,
sure this is like stalling for the Three Amigos to get there.
yeah, and I feel like knowing them, they wouldn't stall at all. They'd be like ready, like, oh hey, like because they probably think, oh, they think that they would have a sort of plan, but like no, we're immediately gonna show up to them and like try to kill them. And so yeah, it's like very, very interesting. Like it's not bad filler at all. Like I'm fine with
Yeah,
it. Like but also I don't need it.
it's quality filler, but it's still filler.
Right, right.
Yeah. And then we get to the thing where this is the point where I was saying earlier, their rope swinging looked so good and so competent, like they knew what they were doing. And then we get to this point, and the rope swinging is awful. Dude lands in a closet. The other one is stuck in a pinata, and the other one ends up right in front of all of them. And like you said, they have all their guns on them, all of them. Yeah, man, it's super crazy. He does end up in the same room with Carmen,
Hmm.
but I don't think it's helping as much. Like he tries to get a secret. What was it he said? He said, we didn't think we would get in here in the first place, so we didn't really make the rest of the plan.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's what it is. And I believe it's like right after that like after we're seeing like all of them having these accidents or like them ending up in a certain place and having trouble getting out. I believe like we see like El Guapo and them just like like chatting and there's like one scene where he like sees a guy and he's like hey and like he like raises his head and he falls down.
yeah.
That was very funny. A lot of falling in this movie.
A
A
lot of
lot.
falling in this movie. That's why I thought this would be a much
Yeah.
this is a much more wholesome movie than I went into thinking of it as, but it still has the elements of it that's like the singing animals and a bunch of falling and the characters are like really stupid and stuff like that. It's it's like this movie went more wholesome and more like dramatic than I expected, but it's still very much like a stupid comedy movie in the way I thought too.
And I also like when the three amigos are trying to like sneak their way into like saving Carmen. They like do very unnecessary like tiny hops on the way doing it. Like you don't have to do that. Like also the only probably you have to tiptoe. I don't really think anyone's like near you, and I feel like even if you tiptoe, it might be like a little loud because you're on like soil and like dirt and everything, which can still make like noise.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, it's like it's a bad really. Someone's gonna hear you regardless of what you do. So
Of course.
no
Of
point
course.
of doing little hops for that.
Yeah, and then the part that I think is interesting, how I believe he's supposed to hit someone in the head with a gun and knock him out, but he can't do it, and then she has to do it for him. It's like, yo, you guys are so ill prepared for everything that it takes to be a hero.
Like you
That
are the three amigos. This is what you're supposed to do, and you can't do it. What? Like,
exactly, exactly, yeah. To the point where what was supposed to be the damsel in distress has to do the hard thing, and yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, I
Um,
believe like one of them, like once they realized like they're in a predicament, they said, "Well, we're just gonna use our brains," and I think one of them said, "Damn it," like, which makes sense. Like, oh, we've been like doing everything like scot free. Now we have to actually like think of stuff to do. Like, oh no,
exactly. Yeah, they're not apparently they're good performers. They're not good improvisers in terms of what it could,
right?
because they couldn't think of anything on the spot for real. They're just like kind of panicked
Yeah,
while they're trying to figure out what to do
they're
inside of
just
the
working their way around this entire situation.
exactly. Exactly. Okay. But as Lucky frees himself, like you said, and Dusty sneaks out only to be caught, Net falls loose and is captured, and he falls like hard too. Having but oh my gosh, I forgot about this. The German, just when you thought this couldn't get crazier, the German having idolized Ned, like he's like a huge fan of his. Oh, your movies are in Germany, and Ned he goes to war. Oh my gosh. He idolized Ned's quick draw gun and spinning pistol since he was a child, only to actually get mad at him when he found out that it was effects and then challenges him to a shootout. Ned then wins the shootout because he was for real with that thing, killing the German. Lucky holds El Guapo at gunpoint long enough for Carmen and the Amigos to escape, first on horseback and then in the German's plane.
And I
And
feel
yeah,
like him like not realizing its special effects is like such a like so like 10-year-old of like of
yeah,
him like I seen like a little kid and watching like Spider-Man or whatever or Iron Man and seeing like all these special effects and of course like as like whatever however young you are you're gonna think it's real then like of course you're gonna be like, a little bit disappointed when you realize oh it's all fake but
yeah.
but, like it's so funny like challenging him like okay we'll still see like regardless and him still winning I thought it was very amusing.
Yeah, I think that was funny. And we all have movies like that. It's good to know that movies that, because if this is set in 1916, the movie that he's talking about must have been in like 1903 or something like that. It's good to know that
Right.
people who were kids in 1903 also have the same problem of when you saw stuff when you were a kid, you thought everything was real.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, man,
It's
this is
so funny.
crazy.
It's great.
And but it's so crazy the concept of the German idolizing him and then getting mad at him. All to
Yeah.
get that together, it's another sequence of things that again involves the German. I didn't see this coming at all. Like when it first happened, I'm like, I can't believe any of you even know about him, which I guess makes sense because they're supposed to be famous, but it's still so crazy that one of them would recognize them that's the bad guy. And then to flip it so bad, where it's like, yeah, and then I found that it was special effects, and I hated your guts ever since, you son of a bitch. And I'm gonna shoot you. It's like, what a crazy flip flop of things. We go from like, oh my God, we're saved to, oh no, we're screwed again.
Right. And like and I feel like that and that's my probably like, well, I'm sorry that I just did what I had to do, and the editors did what they did. Like, I'm sorry that we it
Yeah.
looked good. And also, I believe there's another like funny scene. I think like right in between like all the scenes we're talking about of like
Mhm.
Dusty like hiding to be like one of the like guards, and there's like
Oh, he sure
back and
does.
forth.
Yeah. And then he recognizes it. He's like,
It's like, who
I've
the hell are
seen,
you?
yeah, I've done unspeakable acts with all of you, and I love you, and I know you, and it's my birthday, and I'm celebrating y'all. And then he gets to dude, and he's just throwing out like big things. We burned the village
Right.
because clearly these guys have probably burned hundreds of villages. So he could just throw something like that out there. But because El
Hmm.
Guapo is a real one and knows all his men, he's like, who the hell? No, no, no. I remember every time I burned the village, okay? I
Right.
remember every time I Nino Browned a little girl. I never did it with you. What the hell is this?
And I like how it takes them like a couple like beats back and forth between them to realize that
Yeah,
that was funny. Like he like that clueless at first.
yeah, it's so. There's a lot of just weird things in this movie that you don't quite see handled in this exact way, and this was one of them.
Right. And I feel like
Anyway,
we wouldn't even expect it like from a movie like this too, because I feel like
I
going into
know
it, I don't think anyone would expect all this like silliness to happen. But like
I
I'm so glad it
expected
happened.
silliness, but not like this. Like
Right.
I was expecting it to be like silly and dumb in the way that like Blues Brothers was. You know, I'm
Yeah.
expecting it to be silly and dumb and like a really in like the Glenn Powell. What was it? Is that his name? Glenn Powell?
Yeah.
And like the Glenn Powell episode from season 51. No, this was silly and stupid, but also in a way that's like tied together in ways that I did not expect. This is a smarter movie than I expected, I would say, while being
Yes.
dumb at the same
Yeah.
time.
And speaking of Glenn Powell, just imagine if the Bob Orange just came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, that would have been really funny. Yeah,
Like
maybe he
I'm
should be in
mad
the
at you now.
reboot.
I'm not gonna get the Bank Battalion to go after you.
Yeah, maybe he should be in the reboot of this movie if they bring it
Right.
back. Anyways, yeah, they're pointing them at gunpoint. They get away. They get on the. Oh, and by the way, this German plane part. Ironically enough, I was reading about um planes from the World War I era, and it was this dangerous. Like, first of
Mhm.
all, they're not even. This is above capacity weight wise. They're flying on the wings that only seat of a plane that only seats two people.
Yeah.
This
Mhm.
is hella dangerous. And then when I was reading, it's like, yo, planes at this point in time were like super dangerous anyway. And then you throw in the fact that Ned's not even a real pilot. Because he says at one point that
But
no,
he
it
did, it
wasn't
was
me
like in
who
the
was
movie.
flying, that it was his stunt double,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's like, oh, I wrote a plane in like this movie that I did. I'm sure I could do it.
Yeah, that's so crazy. And they're flying so like they're barely off the ground. It's tilting all over the place.
Yeah.
Like they're flying this thing like it's so dangerous the way they're flying it. And I don't know how the two of them didn't like almost fall off of the wing because they're holding on to the wing the whole time. Like what is this? And also planes are like I'm not even sure if I think planes are at this point in time in 1916. I don't think they're even 20 years old as a concept yet. So it's
Mm.
crazy that they're even getting this far with this plane, a thing that was it's just absolute madness. You never see I just realized in almost every comedy I've ever seen, you never see any of them actually flying a plane. Unless it's
Yeah.
like Soul Plane or something where the whole thing is revolving around a plane.
Yeah. I think like for a future project that we'll do 1941 with Dan and John, I believe like
Yes.
they actually fly a plane in that. But of course we'll check it out and we'll talk about
Yeah,
that.
we'll review that movie in the future. But yeah,
Right.
he's flying this plane so poorly. But again, because it's 1916 standards, it's probably how people actually did fly a plane back then. Like
Right.
super dangerous, almost suicide level of flying this plane.
Yeah, because a plane is
Somehow,
something a new concept at this point. So
I
like
know.
we're still
Yeah.
figuring.
Oh my God. It's like flying a plane in 1916 was like trying to get a good picture with AI now.
Yeah, I believe also like this where they like officially like have Carmen. They bring her on the plane alongside the three of them. And I like how for the most part she's the only calm one
Yeah,
throughout it.
well, you got to realize she's been
Yeah,
under the thumb of this terrible gang of El Guapos for
yeah,
probably years now, and they're just living the soft life in Hollywood. Like it
right.
makes sense. It really does make sense that she's lived a much more hardened life than they have.
Like this is nothing. This is an average Tuesday afternoon for me.
Exactly. They've raided my village 30 times in just the last month. This is nothing to me.
Right.
Okay. And speaking of the village, it's so crazy that they land perfectly fine in
Yeah.
this village. This village, they've been flying so dangerous the whole time. They land in a village that doesn't even have a runway, and
Mhm.
somehow they land safely, perfectly, no problems, no scratches on this plane. That is, that's a very unrealistic thing to me for a non-pilot flying a plane and landing it in a place without a runway.
Only in the movies, baby.
Only in the movies. Only in the movies. Anyways, returning back to Santa Poco with El Guapo's entire army in pursuit. I believe they were shooting at the plane at points in this. They rally the villagers to stand up for themselves with a plan of a defense. And what a plan this was. The bandits arrive in a seemingly empty village only to find themselves being shot at by amigos from all sides and failing into hidden water filled with trenches dug by the villagers. Eventually, all of El Guapo's men either desert him or die in a gunfire, and he takes a fatal wound as well. As he lies dying, the villagers, all armed, wearing replicas of the Amigos costume, step out to confront him. El Guapo congratulates them on their plan, then shoots Looky in the foot before dying. Wow, 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 wow.
Yep, absolutely. Just and also one real quick to the previous scene. I like how I think it's like Lucky and another guy were going over like having a battle, and Lucky with a gun like points the gun to the guy, and he says,
Yeah, he drops his gun, and then Lucky's like, dude, pick up your own gun.
right, and he says some sort of line. I'm trying to find it in my notes. Yeah. Oh yeah. You want to? Like, is your something about your dick?
Oh yeah, he said, "I'm gonna fill you with so much lead that you'll have to
Yeah.
bite a bit with your dick." Oh
Right.
my God, yeah, no, this,
Like, oh wow. Like, and
yeah.
especially it doesn't seem like a line that would come out of Steve Martin's mouth, but here we are.
Oh man, listen, Steve Martin has had some crazy shit.
Yeah.
I've said, wait till if we ever get past to ever do the jerk, like on like a Patreon or something in the future, you'll see what I mean. Um,
Ooh. Stay tuned, everybody.
stay
But
tuned.
but
Stay
yeah,
tuned.
but for this scene, yeah,
But
but for
getting
this,
back to the scene, yeah. Um, there's just so much going on here. They get to the thing and they say, "What are you guys really good at?" And they're like, "We can sew." And of all the things, that's another thing that reminds me of Blazing Saddles.
and I like how like they're actually like wondering, like he asked, like again he asked that question, they're like, and someone says, "So okay, you can sew great," and literally everyone just sews, but like again, it comes to good use. But I like the like quick montage, just everybody just sewing.
Everybody just sewing and sewing and sewing. And it reminds me of Blazing Saddles in that I don't want to spoil it, but this is a movie that was made all the way back in 1974. So if you haven't seen Blazing Saddles, I guess cover your ears for the next minute or
Yeah.
so. The way they solve the rich guy trying to run the railroad through the town in Blazing Saddles is they build the town next to the town, but it's fake. And all the villagers have to do it in a very short amount of time, just like in this, where all the villagers have to sew Amigos costumes together in a very short amount of time. and both are to save the village. And it's like, it just seems so crazy that they would also have a very unconventional way to save it. And this works so well too, because then it's good. First of all, because of the Amigos not being actual heroes, they already are so confusing. They've confused them basically the whole time, but not enough. The middle two times, I guess you would say, to actually hurt them or anything.
Right.
But this time, it feels like the whole thing is Amigos. It looks like they're clones or something. I thought it was like if any X-Men fan will know what I mean when I say this. It was like they were fighting multiple man. It's going crazy. They're all over the place. They're surrounded. They just sewed to their heart content and pulled this off. It looked crazy for what was already a confusing game. And yeah,
Yeah, and just a great like designs of like everybody just like having the same costume on. It's one of those
and
like
very accurate too.
yeah, very. And it's one of the things like where I wonder like how long had it take because I wonder if they just probably just made all of these like before even making the ones for like Marty, Chevy, and Steve.
I
Because
mean, if their specialty is sewing
yeah,
and everyone in the town is doing it, I guess you could probably get this done in a few hours
yeah.
if
I was kind of
everyone is
like
doing it.
yeah, I was kind of like behind the scenes wise, like how long did it take to make all the costumes?
Now, I do wonder something. I just thought about this. Because in the montage, they do show a sewing machine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Were sewing machines around in 1916?
There's
I'm
no.
not sure. About,
I feel like in every movie there's always that one thing where it's like this did not
I
happen
was
that
wondering if there would be a continuity error.
time. Yeah.
I gotta look this up now. I don't know, man. It feels a little, it feels, okay. According to everything, it says there were sewing machines all the way back in 1755. So I guess you could have had a sewing machine
Wow.
all the way in 1916. But yeah,
Well, I guess in that case they had to be like one of the first like machines to really be invented. I feel.
it was, I mean, I think I'm thinking it's an electrical sewing machine, but I guess that they did have handheld manual sewing machines too. And
Yeah.
everyone would be because for some reason, anytime when I think of sewing without a sewing machine, I'm thinking of like knitting. But I guess there's other ways of sewing too.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
guess
But
kind of like a typewriter where like you
yeah, because
typewriter.
they did have a typewriter in here, and
Mhm.
obviously that didn't run on electricity. But yeah,
Right.
oh my gosh, yeah, they're just sewing and sewing to their heart's content, and they save the town. And I appreciate that they saved. It's kind of like what we were saying in Iron Man last episode,
Mhm.
where he threw the terrorists to them so they could deal with it. I do appreciate that they saved their own town to a large extent. Because again, you don't want it to be like, too white saviory. So at least the Mexicans saved their own town with the help of the Amigos. They got to have a huge part in it as well. So, anyways, they've saved this town. They shoot him in the foot, but I guess he's okay.
Yeah.
Jesus, Lucky, you're taking a lot of shit today. You've got shot in the arm, didn't get bandaged for it or nothing, and you got shot in the foot, and you're just fine.
Yeah.
He really is lucky to survive all that.
right. No, that's why he has that name, Lucky, because like he's invincible, and
Right.
that's why he's also the leader. Just like
Yes. Yes.
yeah, and even though like that part was like very predictable, like of course you gotta like shoot it, that's not like new and surprised me. It worked because it's the classic T Martin reaction that happened with it.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. Only someone like Steve could pull that off in that way.
Yeah.
The villagers, just like in the movie, the villagers offer to give the Amigos all the money they have, but the Amigos refuse it, saying, just like in their movies, that seeing justice done is enough of a reward to them. They then ride off into the sunset, ready to continue to be real heroes. And that's how it goes. They also get a kiss, all three of them,
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah, so they won twice that day.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yes, they did. Yeah, what did you think of this wrap
And
up?
then it gets like a big old.
Right.
He gets the full on. They just get pegged. He gets a full on tongue. So clearly Ned's the winner here, as we all been
Oh yeah, he
saying.
gets the thickest kiss of this movie.
Yeah. But yeah, this was like a decent way to end it. I can't really think of like a better way to end it, but like how we ended it here, I felt was like fine, and nothing to complain about with this one.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty clean ending.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
I guess they maybe could. No, I think they kind of tied up all the loose ends. I kind of, I don't think this movie spawned a sequel, but it definitely left it open to
So,
spawning a sequel
yeah,
because they're just going off into the desert. We don't know what happens to them after that, you know?
right. And I do kind of wonder, like, I feel like they had to have like some sort of like sequel in mind, but I guess maybe it's like, what can you do with sequel? Like, have them come back to the town, or like go
I
to a
mean,
new
I
town.
think they could have made a sequel in a different town. I don't know.
I guess it
Maybe
might have just been
everyone
like
was still
fear. I think it might have been just like fear, like not hitting the same way. So, which is always like,
right.
I feel like a good thing if that's ever like a thing that comes into someone's mind. Like, I don't think it's might hit the same. Which I'm glad if that did come to their mind, which probably it did. Then yeah,
Yeah. I feel like there's other eras in cinema where they definitely make a sequel because they're like, if this made enough money at all, we're making this just off of our capitalistic um and ambition anyways. But with this one, I guess, it was the 80s. Things weren't exactly where they were at different eras in cinema. A little past us, yeah.
yeah, for sure. And I like it, and I think it's a perfect way to end it of like them having sing well, like the audio of the song being sung over again. I think that's like really great. And yeah, I
Yes,
guess,
yes, yeah.
yeah. So that is two black men think about three amigos, or I'll talk about three
Yeah.
amigos.
Damn
Nice.
right. Yes. Yeah. Hell of
So
a
yeah,
movie. Hell of a
yeah.
movie.
So yeah, talk about our two SNL leads. Also, we want to talk about Steve Martin because not SNL cast member, but like, let's just start with Martin
Right.
or Chevy. Talk about their
I think
films.
let's start with Chevy first. Because
Okay, okay.
Chevy is by this point in time a huge,
Yeah,
huge deal. Like
yeah, and
this is a full, what is it, 10 years? No, 11 years. This is 11 years after he starts at SNL, right?
right. Yep, yep. Yeah, this was
Mm-hmm.
his only movie he did in '86, and he does do anything in '87. And in '88, he does a Funny Farm, which I feel is a very, very underrated movie. The
Yes.
sequel to Caddyshack, which I feel after we covered Caddyshack, then we should cover
Yes,
this.
there's
This
two
would be very
sequels after this because he's so established at this point that there are two huge franchises that are ongoing by the time this movie starts. There's the third National Lampoon after this, and the
Mhm.
second Caddyshack after this.
Right.
And ironically, because of what happens with the swordsman, Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Oh yeah, yeah. Also in
It's the
1991, he
same
does.
character.
Right, yeah. Also in 1991, he does a Nothing But Trouble with Danny Aykroyd and Gina Davis, and
Yeah.
John Candy. So, oh no. Wait. I think. Hold on, let me check. I think John Candy's in that. I want to make sure. Oh yeah, he is. Yep. Yeah. Also, I met Demi Moore, not Gina Davis. But also, yeah, he does a Vegas Vacation, Dirty York in 1998, which is the Nora movie, which I'm gonna be very excited when we cover one day.
Oh yeah.
Snow Day was definitely a forgotten film. I feel he does. That also has a Chris Elliott in it and Gene Smart. So there's that, and then kind of doesn't want to do anything of note after that. He does the family movie Zoom, and then he's part of Hot Tub Time Machine, which had Craig
Oh yes,
Robinson
I
in it,
loved Hot Tub Time Machine.
and it appears like very briefly to in my opinion, the worst vacation movie of 2015. Because even though we got a great cast of like Ed Helms, Christina Applegate, Leslie Mann, that vacation movie for me doesn't do a thing. And cause it's funny because I believe it's a European vacation that isn't super well loved. But like I feel like that one's the worst out of all of them. And of course, we recently saw a documentary he did earlier this year of
Right.
himself. So yeah,
Right. Yeah, man. He's got a pretty good career after this. It's a long time before things start to fall apart. Meanwhile, this is only Martin Short's second movie ever. So this kind of launched him into a place that he had never been in before. He was mostly like TV and stage before this. He's got Three Amigos. He's in Inner Space, which I believe he's two on the call sheet or co-lead in. Cross My Heart, he does both of those. He does that one and he does, what was it? He does Inner Space and Cross My Heart in the same year. Next year, 87. He's the lead of Cross My Heart.
And doesn't do anything in 1988, and then in Three Fugitives he does in 1989. I skip over a little bit to do, then in 1991, he skip over a little bit, he does Father of the Bride, so reunites again with
another one with Steve.
Yeah, then does, well, I thought it was actually sort of like he voiced like Clifford the Big Red Dog, but no, he just does a movie called Clifford that he does with Charles Grodin, famous SNL host. A very famous episode of the show.
Yeah, don't forget Pure Luck that he does with Danny Glover. I don't know what kind of movies. This sounds like it was the other version of Lethal Weapon. I don't know. We'll have to review it one day. Oh my goodness. Father of the Bride and Father of the Bride 2. Obviously a big thing. Jungle to Jungle? No, he looks like he's second in this.
Disney movie.
One of those kind of Disney movies. There was a lot of these in the 90s.
Also, she mentioned Chevy also did a Disney movie called Man of the House, I believe, which Jonathan Taylor Thomas, I believe.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I believe someone else is in that. That's big. I forget who. But also, I had no idea he was a voice in the Jimmy Neutron movie.
I didn't know that either. I definitely saw that movie. I didn't know who Martin Short was at the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
and part of the Santa Claus franchise as Jack Frost. So
of course.
We could forget that. And Madagascar 3. Wow.
Again, we get all the Madagascars.
Oh, yeah.
Because of Vince.
We got them all.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's who the two are. Obviously Steve has a lot of movies as well. But
real quick on Martin, she does like a Wizard of Oz movie, which I think is interesting. The Addams Family sequel in 2019. The Willoughbys in 2020. And he did two documentaries recently of Chevy's documentary and then John Candy's documentary, I Like Me, that premiered in 2025. And I also believe he also was a major point in Gilda's documentary, Love Gilda.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay.
So Martin's a big legend, as we all know, but still.
As we all know, yeah. So I think ultimately this was in the middle of a very, very big, long stretch of things for Chevy. Whereas this kind of started Martin's whole movie career overall. Like, I don't think he is where he is today without this movie being the success that it was.
Yeah, which is interesting because, again, he's already a big established name even before this and even before SNL. So it's very funny how this is only his second movie he's ever done.
I know. But yeah, that was Three Amigos. Very fun.
A movie I actually was like, think it was just like decent at first, but like really talking through it, I actually maybe enjoy it like a lot more. Which is
this was a very funny movie. Yeah. Victor, tell them where they can find you, big dog.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at I'mAlive00000, and where I actually want to give a big shout out to someone who we will be seeing soon on this very podcast, the one and only Max Blaska, who was very kind enough to give us a shout out. So thank you, Max. And again, we're going to hear a lot more from him as he's going to be a guest on this podcast. And also check me out at I'mAlive419 on Twitter, talking about, as this is one of these last couple episodes of SNL, also occasionally SNL UK, and just seeing how season 51 wraps up when we reach the summer and see who stays and who leaves. Because it's always a crazy time to be an SNL fan, but it's also kind of exciting at the same time. So yeah, check it out.
Yes, of course. And you can find me at he_gentleman on Instagram. Talking about all that. You can find me at Toxic Hoops Takes on TikTok, where I do have some things of my newly crowned national champion UCLA Bruins. I love to see that and all other types of women's basketball stuff. And you can find us both on the Not Ready for Popcorn Players Discord, which will be ready by the time this episode comes out. We can't wait to see you there. We'll be talking all sorts of SNL stuff. We'll be talking movie suggestions. We'll be talking all sorts, just a plethora of things and topics, including other movies like this. It'll be super fun over there. I can't wait to see you guys. And yeah, just see what types of people are in our fan base and around our fan base.
Yes, and I'm hoping to bring in some of the people that we're bringing in for guests into that Discord server. So if you join us, you could get to know them a little bit more before you get to hear them on the podcast.
Totally, totally. I love that. Yeah, so great episode, great time. Hope to see you guys again soon. And in the Discord, which again will be up very soon, right when this episode comes out. Can't wait to do another episode with you guys and with Victor of Not Ready for Popcorn Players. See you next time.